Hi ladies, this is the hair tutorial we'll be using for the 2025-26 comp season. For reference, this is the hairstyle we will be doing. So how we're going to start is we're going to separate these front pieces from my head. If you could tell from the photo, they kind of have these front pieces as part of the ponytail, and it's a ton easier to do the poof first before you do the ponytail. I just like to have these front pieces be separated before I separate my hair for the poof because it makes getting my hair for the poof a lot easier. So now it's time to start working on the poof. It's not as big of a poof for those of you who were in the group last year for Dolly. It's not as big of a poof, but it's a slightly smaller poof. So make sure you take that into account when you're poofing. So how I like to get my hair is I like to bring these pieces to the very front and bring them down with that separated line. I like to go from the middle and get my hair so it's nice and centered while also being a little bit further back. And then make sure you get a good amount of hair. It doesn't need to be that much hair because we aren't doing such a big poof, but make sure it is a good amount of hair that you can still get some volume in your hair with it. So now what I will be doing is I will be separating the rest of my hair down while keeping this piece of hair like able to be used so I can do my poof. So now it is time to start the poof. Is you want to have your hair face down in front of your face like this, and you're just going to grab a thin section of the back of your hair. I like to use my fingers, but if you want to be more specific, you can use the back of your teasing comb to section out a section. I like to do my hair in sections of 3 to 4 for poofing, but it definitely varies from person to person and on how fine your hair is. Once I have my section of hair, I like to put the rest of my hair to the side. And because the poofs aren't that tall, I don't need to put that much hairspray on. I do need a little bit, but I don't need much. Then I tease down with the comb. It's a good strategy to start from the top and tease down. And once you've teased your hair, lay it back. And then what you'll do is you'll move on to the next section of hair and repeat the same steps. So I will section out my hair, put the rest of my hair to the side, get a little bit of hairspray on there, tease it a little bit, not too severely high, and yeah, then just lay it back. I have enough hair to do, I think, one more section before we lay it over and finish the poof. Okay, and now I have my last section of hair. The one thing I will say for poofing is you want to make sure you have a good section of hair left to cover the poof to give it that nice, smooth, slick look. So I have my last section of hair, doing a touch of hairspray, tease it down like I did with the other sections, then lay it back. So you'll see I have a bit of a poof with the knots, but we don't want all that knottiness, so what I will do, the rest of my hair goes over it like so. So you can see that the naughty, horrible, frizzy bit is covered. I will use my comb for this section to make sure that all of my hair is covered. One thing that commonly happens with poofs is you see you have this little middle part here. You want to try to hide that as much as possible. So once you have your poof nice and flattened out, I like to use these little rubber bands. You can buy these literally anywhere. And I just like to tie the back of my hair. You can see that it's got that height from the side, but it's not too tall, which is where we'd like that poof to be. Okay, and then to finish off our poof, I like to do one last light spray of hairspray. You don't need to do too much. You just gotta do enough that it doesn't do any flyaways. So yeah, that's the poof. That is the first half of the hairstyle done. Now time to work on the ponytail. So for the ponytail, I have this hairspray and I have 3 of these ponytail holders. If you want to use these rubber bands for the ponytail, you can. My hair is just too thick for those ponytail holders. Now these front pieces are too short for me to be able to put them with the rest of my ponytail. If your front pieces are long enough to do that, then what I would recommend you do is you tie up your ponytail, and if you can see in the photo, which I'll put up right there for reference, is it kind of swoops down the side and then goes up underneath the ponytail. So if your hair is long enough to do that, then totally feel free to do that. Mine isn't, so I'm going to be showing you how to do the hair if your hair isn't long enough. But what we want with this ponytail is we want it to be, if you can see where you kind of tied the base of your poof, you want to right about here in height. So the top of my ponytail is about right right where that poof ponytail holder is, if that makes sense. Now that I have my front pieces kind of separated out, I will be tying my ponytail. One thing I like to say is I like to make sure my ponytail is all nice and flat before tying it. So I will use a comb to the side. And once you have that at that medium height, I am just gonna be tying it with my ponytail holders. Okay, now that my hair is in a ponytail, I like to make sure, like I said, my sides are smooth. That side looks really good. This side looks a little bit bumpy, so because this piece is sticking out here a little bit, what I'm just gonna do is I'm gonna get that piece, get a bobby pin, and just clipping it back. So now that my sides are pretty smooth, I will go in with a ton of this hairspray. And I am gonna be combing it back to make sure that none of this hair is going anywhere. Okay, then now we will be working on these little front pieces. They're a little bit wet because I just had to redo them, but that is a-okay. So if you can see in the photo, it kind of like swoops down and goes up like this. And we're gonna try to imitate that with our hair. So when I have my hair brushed out like this, I'm gonna try to bring it down on the front of my scalp a little bit and then bring it back up towards the ponytail, if that makes sense. So it kind of looks a little something like this. So you can see I kind of have the swoop down right here, but it also goes back up to reach where the ponytail is. Okay, and then while we have our hair still there, we're gonna spray it down like crazy to make sure it does not move. What I like to do, you have to be really delicate with the comb whenever you're brushing this out because we don't want this swoop motion to go away. So I just like to brush through it with my comb very softly. When I get back here, brushing it up a little bit. But the hairspray does a pretty good job. The hairspray or the hair gel, whatever you decide to use, does a pretty good job of keeping it there. So I'm gonna let that dry for a second, and then I'm gonna end up doing a second layer of it. Also, one thing I'll sometimes do is if my end bits are like sticking out like crazy, I'll get a pin and I'll just pin them down. And then one last tip, you can kind of see I have skin showing right there. I just try to hide as much skin as I possibly can because we don't want skin showing. You won't be able to tell from a distance, but up close it does look a little bit awkward. So try to have minimal forehead skin showing as possible. Okay, and then I will do the other side and get back to you at the end of the video. Okay, and that is our finished hair look. So you can see I kind of had this swoopy bit on this side, did the same thing on this side. It has just that swoop up motion that we want that hair to appear that's still in the ponytail. So yeah, this is the hair, this is what it looks like. Other than that, as long as you do it once or twice, you'll definitely get it down. This seems like a hard hairstyle, I promise it's a lot easier than it looks. But yeah, hope this tutorial was helpful. Love you guys so much and see ya.